Hello friends, this is Otz, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on what is probably currently the hottest topic of discussion in the Dead by Daylight community. If you're a part of it in any way, you're probably well aware of it. If not, I'll bring you up to speed in just a second. The epicenter of this earthquake is very popular streamer True Talent. For some months now, True Talent has been toying with a very interesting playstyle. He's been playing Ghostface, a killer that he absolutely adores, and instead of focusing on his power, which is stock, he's instead using the stealth component of his kit to run a very interesting build, which is all about hit and run, split pressure, keep everybody injured, keep everybody guessing, and slowly picking them off one by one. He's had a lot of success with this build. He really enjoys it and has made many videos if you want to check them out. And at one point, he proclaimed that in his view, Ghostface was the top third killer in the game, behind, of course, Nurse and Spirit. And some people raised an eyebrow, but some people also saw the merit of this idea, and nothing really ever came out of it. Until he started doing the same thing with the Wraith. And then all hell broke loose. He used a similar approach with the Wraith, used a combination of add-ons and perks to mimic this same playstyle. And he proclaimed that the Wraith was the fourth best killer in the game. And some people that had seen him play the Wraith very successfully kinda agreed. Some other people, many other people in fact, considered this to be absolutely ludicrous. He had the temerity, the sheer audacity to express his opinions. And of course, some people pointed out valid criticism, and he is a public figure, he should accept criticism. But some people, they took the easy way out, they just mocked him, didn't really add anything to the conversation, and, that really didn't help. Either side proved their points, basically. At any rate, True Talent has constantly stated that all he wants to do is start a conversation and have a debate. So that's what I'm trying to do today. I'm going to try to settle this matter and see the merit of his ideas and see why some of the criticisms might also be perfectly valid. We're gonna have a look at this build and see how he's managed to do so well with it. Let's have a look over here. This is his build, his preferred build. We have Ruin to slow down the game. It's a passive perk, he doesn't have to worry about it from the very beginning of the game. It's slowing down early gen repairs. It might last long or little, but it's there doing its job. Sloppy Butcher is a very important part of his kit. He wants to keep people injured for as long as possible. Instead of committing to one chase, he will try to keep as many people injured as possible and get the most value out of it. The idea is to trick people into either healing and wasting time and opening themselves up, or not healing and being vulnerable. Thanaphobia is a perk that by itself is very weak, but in this build it kind of ties it all together. It makes Ruin that tiny little bit nastier, which is never bad, and it also makes Sloppy even more threatening. If you manage to hit multiple survivors, Thanaphobia stacks up, and the slowdown affects basically everyone. This can also have the effect to trick survivors into healing, and once they do heal, Nurse's Calling comes into effect. Nurse's Calling allows you to see survivors who are healing, and for a killer that can suppress his terror radius, this is huge, because he can really creep up to survivors and get that second hit in. And the reason he can do this is because one of his add-ons of choice is the Coxcomb Clapper. The Coxcomb Clapper completely nullifies the sound of your bell. It allows you to hear a generator being worked on, sneak up behind it, come out of the corner and grab a survivor or get that first hit in. And once they're healing, do the exact same thing and down them. So this build completely, at least in theory, completely disregards common looping and instead tries to find survivors out of position. And the other thing that really helps is the Windstorm family of add-ons, which he also uses in conjunction with this. The Windstorm family of add-ons makes you move faster while you cloak. This allows you to be able to check on generators yourself without barbecue, discordant, surveillance, or anything with that, and get the most value out of Ruin, out of Sloppy, out of Thana, and out of Nurse's Calling especially. He will often run this add-on in one of its varieties, and either the Coxcomb Clapper, which is the best choice, or the Bone Clapper, which is a yellow add-on. Instead of nullifying the sound entirely, it muffles it so that survivors can tell where you're coming. It's also very effective. So with one of these combinations, True Talent has done actually quite well for himself. In fact, you'll see that he posted a full VOD of 16 games that he played back-to-back one day, And these are the results. I've compiled the information myself, and we can see that he played in a variety of maps. I've color-coded them very, very quickly. Yellow maps, or orange maps, so-so. Green maps, favorable for killer. Red maps, not so good for killer. You can see that there's a variety. There are some very bad maps for killer here, and he managed to do just fine. In fact, out of his 16 games, one of them was cancelled because someone DC'd early. Out of his 16 games, he had a 4K in every single game. That's pretty impressive. Only one game, Survivors actually managed to pull through and all escape. So, let's get... How did he do this? Did Ruin carry him? Well, that was my first thought. Let's have a look. No, Ruin did not help that much. There were games where Ruin absolutely helped and stayed up the whole game. And there were also games where Ruin was gone in 30 seconds. Either way, it didn't seem like a deciding factor in whether he did really well or did it or the game went badly. So even though I think Ruin is absolutely a staple of this build rather, it wasn't what really made it happen. What I think explains this success a little bit more is the next piece of information, and that's the add-ons that he used. Now here is where we come at an impasse, where we have a bit of a problem. One thing that many critics of True don't understand is that the way he judges victory is ranking. I personally don't do that. I win, in my view, if I kill everyone, or if I kill most of them. For True Talon, he wants to pip. He wants to rank up. Sometimes he will kill 4 people and then be upset because he got a brutal killer. I'm not like that, most people aren't like, but that's how he plays. And in that regard, the Wraith is an amazing, amazing killer. Because he comes out of cloaking and then ends the chase immediately, because the chase begins when he comes out of cloaking, he gets a lot of chaser. With Ruin and being able to interrupt survivors early, he can get a very decent gatekeeper. And if you keep everybody injured with Sloppy and so on, you'll get all the chasing you'll get all the emblems. You will rank up very, very well with Wraith. But the same could be said of Legion, and Legion isn't necessarily strong. So why are these add-ons an issue? Now, some people have already pointed this out. They've told True, hey, but you were running very strong add-ons. So, you know, that nullifies your opinion. And what True has responded so far, at least from what I've seen, is that, well, you know, add-ons are a part of the killer. So if the killer can use these add-ons to be viable, that's not a problem. But that's missing the point. It is missing the point entirely. Because if Wraith is allowed to use these add-ons, then to compare him fairly to other killers, you should also allow them to use add-ons of this level of rarity. And let me tell you right now, I know a Hunters or 2 or 3 or 10 that if they use iridescent hatchets like this build would allow every game, or 75% of the games, they would never, ever, ever lose. Ever. Or a good plague that runs the Black Incense add-on, which completely gives you tracking over everyone, they would never, ever, ever lose. These add-ons are pretty bonkers. Wraith is on steroid with these add-ons. But you could argue, well, you can tell that towards the end, he started using different add-ons. He started to go to yellow rarity, and in fact, he's planning on doing this exact same experiment, but only with yellow add-ons to prove that the Wraith is a top killer and he's viable. But this also misses the point, because if he does achieve this, and I'm sure he will, what he's proving is that the Wraith is viable and that he is good and that you can use clever combinations of add-ons and perks to make him shine. He's not proving, however, that this makes him better than other killers. Perhaps this makes him better than other killers with his own playstyle, his own experience, his own gameplay preferences. But that doesn't mean that the Wraith is objectively stronger than other killers who would do the same. And to try to prove this, I did a bit of an experiment myself. In my own streams, I started playing Trapper and taking the time to write down the results of my games. I did this over the course of 16 games, just like True, and I made sure to use no Ruin on any of my games. You guys know Trapper is one of the slower killers in the game to set up. So surely if I can do well without Ruin on Trapper, any killer can do well with any perk, basically anytime. These were my results. I also had a fair amount of good and bad maps. And as you can tell, sometimes it was a 3 kill because I gave the hatch or because I didn't care. And most of the times it was 4 kills. I did not care very much about the ranking system, but again, as you can tell, I never ever deranked, ever. All of these games were either at rank 1 or rank 2. At one point, I started using brown add-ons, and I also tracked how many generators were left by the time the game was finished, and they never ever 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 got to the 5th generator. They never finished the fifth one, ever, without ruin. What does this mean? Am I a god trapper who's absolutely unstoppable? No. Am I using odds cheats? Yes, but that's past the point. No, what it means is that any killer who tries and uses a good combination of perks and actually has a bit of a plan has a really good chance to do well. Does it mean that you can 4K every single game with every single killer? No. But is that really what viable means? I hope not. We're playing against other people. I also think that the people that I'm versing have a chance to outplay me. I don't feel like the game owes me a 4K every game. If I 4K'd every game, in fact, there will be something wrong with the game. Just because I have 2,000 or 3,000 hours, it doesn't mean that I will always outplay my opponent, right? I honestly believe that every single killer is viable. And true, what he should do is give this exact same Wraith treatment to other killers. Maybe take the time to learn different playstyles more suited to each specific killer. And I think he would find out that if you put that time and love into each killer, all of them can shine. Some of them, of course, more than others. You will need to be a very, very good doctor or a very, very good clown to keep up with a very good nurse or a very good spirit. That's absolutely for sure. That's why tier lists exist, and that's why we compare killers. But that doesn't mean that none of them are viable. You can rank up with all of them. Name me any killer, I will tell you one person who could be rank 1 and almost never lose a game with them. Just because how good of a killer or how good of a specific killer they are. And hopefully this shines a bit of light and it helps both sides understand each other and bridge the gap. True isn't wrong. The Wraith is a good killer. And he's absolutely amazing to rank up for sure. And he, I think, has found his playstyle. You can, if you watch him, it's quite a joy. He seems very happy. He really enjoys it. And just like I like playing Trapper, he's found quite a bit of success in it. You people should not ridicule him. That does not help. And he should perhaps also open up to criticism and see the merit of other people's ideas. Because I think that this is a really fun game. I think that each killer has a lot of potential if we just take a little bit of time to discover it. And we would all be much happier if we did that instead of just shit-talking each other. But anyway, those are my 2 cents. If the situation develops and some more information comes to light, I'll be happy to cover it. Maybe change my mind if there's more information. But that was all. I hope that you guys found this quite interesting. I certainly had a lot of fun putting it together. And I hope it does a little bit of good for the community. You guys can also do a little good for the community by, you know, having civil conversations. Not just with True, but with each other and with everyone else. I think it would help a lot. And that was all. Thank you so much for watching.